Think Glen Ellyn's just another quiet Chicago suburb? Think again. With millions in confirmed growth projects, this town is about to flip the script in 2025. We're talking about massive changes with real impact on property values, traffic, lifestyle, literally everything. But if I told you most people living here have no idea what's coming, and for those of you guys that don't know, this is where I was raised and went to school, so I truly want to keep you guys informed about what's happening here in Glen Ellyn. So let me show you what's really in the works. First, a quick overview. Glen Ellyn's transformation isn't coming out of nowhere. It's been in the works for years, and 2025 is when it all starts to come together. The best part, it's a well thought out plan with a big picture vision. We're talking about a major investment that touches every corner of the village. Pretty impressive for a community this size, right? And this isn't just a random list of projects. Everything falls under a few key focus areas that are designed to work together. So instead of patchwork fixes, you get a coordinated long-term upgrade. The timeline stretches over a couple of years with clear milestones already lined up. What really stands out is how connected everything is. Roads, transit, housing, and planning all support one another. So let's dive in, starting with the changes you'll see first in neighborhoods around town. But before that, I'm Blankenship, a Chicagoland realtor helping people just like you move in and around the Chicago suburbs. And I'd be honored to be your real estate resource of choice when it's time for you to make that move. So just reach out. All my information is down below in the description. Shoot me an email on the screen right here or down below. But all right, here's the thing. Glen Ellyn's putting serious money into street upgrades with 3 big projects happening across town. And no, this is not just about filling potholes. We're talking full-on road makeovers that'll make your drive smoother and give property values a boost. First up is a 2025 resurfacing street project, and it covers about 1.5 miles across 10 streets like Annandale, Arlington, Cottage, and Evergreen. So if you live on one of those streets, expect crews to show up in early spring with everything hopefully wrapped up by midsummer. And what's nice is they're not just laying down new asphalt. They're also tackling drainage issues, the ones that turn your street into a mini lake every time it pours extremely hard. And once it's done, expect better curb appeal and maybe even a bump in your home's value. Next is the big one, the reconstruction on utility and roadway improvement projects. And instead of just resurfacing, they're digging deep and replacing water and sewer lines, some of which date back to the 1940s. Seriously. And according to plans from January, this won't just be a quick patch job. It's a full rebuild, which means the road should last 20 plus years instead of needing work again in a few. And it'll take longer, but it's worth it. Then there's the Ryford Road resurfacing, which kicks off summer 2025. Along with fixing the road, they're adding sidewalks and curb repairs, and the street connects a bunch of neighborhoods to downtown and handles a ton of daily traffic. So yeah, it's definitely overdue in my opinion. And sure, construction's never fun. Most of the work will happen weekdays between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m., but you'll still be able to get to your home, and the village says driveway access might be blocked briefly, but they'll give you at least a 48-hour notice. So while these street projects are sprucing up neighborhoods, downtown is gaining an even bigger makeover, and let's check that out. But before we do that, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a like on this video, because it tells YouTube we're doing a good job on this video kind of thing, and so you'll never miss out when I drop a new video just like this one. Glen Ellyn's continuing its transformation with what they're calling phase 3.5 of the downtown streetscape project in 2025. Weird name, I know, but it's actually a crucial connector in the village's downtown plan. The spotlight is on the Crescent Glenwood public parking lot, and I get it, parking lots don't sound exciting at all, but this one's getting way more than just a repave. They're building medians, upgrading the layout, and making improvements that'll blend better with the look and the feel of the rest of the downtown area. And here's the cool part. They're using permeable pavers that absorb and filter rainwater before it flows down into the storm drains. So instead of more runoff and potential flooding, it helps prevent that and cuts down on pollution while they're at it as well. No more wading around puddles through Main Street after a downpour, and this isn't happening in isolation. If you've walked around the downtown lately, you've probably noticed the changes. Wider sidewalks, upgraded lighting, and those colorful planters along Main Street, Crescent Boulevard, and Pennsylvania Avenue. This next phase connects all those improvements and lays the groundwork for the big one. The train station and underpass project coming soon. And once it's done, the transformation will be hard to miss. The village has already shared some sneak peeks, and it's exactly what you'd want. Classic Glen Ellyn charm with the upgrades people actually use. And now these improvements directly feed into the village's biggest transit project in decades, which brings us into our next major development. Glen Ellyn's metro station is ancient, like 1960s ancient, and they're finally replacing it with a modern transit hub that actually works for everyone. This isn't just making things prettier. They're completely rethinking rethinking how public transit serves the community. One of the big improvements, a pedestrian underpass that connects both sides of the tracks, and if you live here, you know how big of a deal that actually is. Right now, the train track splits town into two, and people take risky shortcuts just to catch their train, and this underpass makes crossing safe and weather protected, and could even share minutes off emergency response times. That's truly a big win, and the new station will also be fully ADA compliant, which means better access for everyone, whether you're using a wheelchair, pushing a stroller, or just hauling your bike. And speaking of bikes, they're adding several covered parking spots and better links to the Illinois Prairie Path. That means fewer cars, more bikes, and more foot traffic for downtown shops. Construction actually kicks off in early 2026 and wraps up by mid-2027. And yeah, it's a bit of a wait, but the station stays open the whole time thanks to temporary platforms. So no major service interruptions for the 1,200 people who use it daily. And the best part is that Glen Ellyn secured major federal funding for this $45 million project by proving how important it is for the whole region, not just for the village. Beyond all this public infrastructure stuff, Glen Ellyn's also tackling housing needs. Let's look at how they're growing residentially. Big news on the housing front, Glen Ellyn is getting its first major affordable housing project in years, and it's a step toward making the village more inclusive in terms of just a range of different options. Back in February 2025, the village board gave the green light to a 42-unit development at Roosevelt Road and Taft Avenue. It's led by Full Circle Communities and aims to bring more options for people who work in town but might not be able to afford to live here. This is a big deal in suburbs like ours, especially where housing prices can push folks out, and the village actually bought the land for $2.85 million back in 2022, specifically for a project like this. Smart move, and now it's paying off. And get this, the Plan Commission voted 5-2 in favor after the public hearing, and if you've followed suburban development at all, you know that kind of support for affordable housing almost never happens. Typically, there's a lot of pushback, and the building will offer a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments for families, seniors, and working residents. About 80% of the units will have income limits tied to the area's median income, so rents stay affordable for people making 30% to 80% of that average. Design-wise, it fits the neighborhood. Think pitch roofs, brick finishes, and a look that blends in with Glen Ellyn style, but with some modern upgrades as well. They're going above on code on energy efficiency using solar panels, better insulation, and efficient heating and cooling to help keep utility bills down. Construction kicks off summer of 2025 and wraps up hopefully at the end of 2026. And now this housing project connects perfectly with broader infrastructure improvements happening throughout the region. Let's see how development beyond Glen Ellyn's borders will benefit village residents as well. Even when a project isn't technically in Glen Ellyn, it can still make a real difference. And in 2025, a couple of big ones are doing just that, totaling around $12 million in upgrades that benefit folks here too. First up, DuPage County is rolling out a major water supply extension for about 5,000 people in unincorporated areas near Glen Ellyn. These are neighborhoods still using well water, and now they'll get connected to the Lake Michigan water system. And why does that matter for you? Because all those new connections strengthen the whole network, including ours. That means better water pressure, more reliable service, and even safer fire protection. In fact, some Glen Ellyn areas could see a noticeable improvement in fire hydrant flow, and that's a big deal when every second counts. The water quality upgrade is another win. Lake Michigan water treated through modern facilities blows past EPA standards, and getting rid of old well systems lower the risk of groundwater contamination for everyone in the area. Now let's talk roads. If you've ever driven east and west across DuPage County, you've probably been stuck on Irving Park Road or Route 19, and IDOT's stepping in with a full resurfacing and redesign of 4.7 miles of that corridor alone. It's more than just fresh asphalt. They're designing intersections and adding a smart signal system that adjusts to real-time traffic. That could reduce your rush hour drive by a good chunk, and according to IDOT, construction kicks off in May 2025 and should be finished by November, before the snow hits. And expect some lane closures, but IDOT says at least one lane will stay open in each direction the whole time, so the impact stays manageable. These aren't flashy projects, but they're the kind that make everyday life better, and they tie right into Glen Ellyn's bigger vision for the future. And let's take a look at the strategic growth vision. None of this growth is random, and it all follows Glen Ellyn's comprehensive plan they adopted in 2023 after tons of community input. This explains why all these different projects work together so well. The plan focuses on growth through redevelopment, reinvestment, and placemaking. Not just fancy words, they're deliberately enhancing existing areas rather than expanding outward, keeping green spaces while maximizing what's already developed. And what's really cool about Glen Ellyn's approach is how they're maintaining the town's character while upgrading infrastructure. The plan specifically identifies historic buildings worth preserving while designating which areas are appropriate for modern development. It's like they're keeping what makes Glen Ellyn special while fixing what needs improvement. You want to talk about a community engagement? Between 2018 and 2022, they held a bunch of public meetings, ran surveys with plenty of responses, and created focus groups for different stakeholders. That's why the plan actually reflects what people want, not just what some planner thought would be nice. Looking past 2025, they've already lined up more projects, potential redevelopment of the old police station site, stormwater improvements for the Taylor Avenue area, and expanding downtown improvements to secondary commercial streets. The plan also tackles climate resilience, increasingly important for suburbs, preserving tree canopy, installing green infrastructure, and requiring energy efficiency in new buildings are all big parts of the guidelines. Maybe most importantly, they've set measurable benchmarks to track success so they can stay the course and correct if needed. And this data-driven approach lets them adapt as conditions change or new opportunities pop up. And let's wrap up what all this means for Glen Ellyn going forward. So there you have it. Glen Ellyn's 2025 transformation touches literally everything: streets, downtown, transit, housing, utilities, all carefully planned and connected. This positions the village for smart growth while keeping the character that makes it so special here in Glen Ellyn. And for current residents, these improvements mean better quality of life, potentially higher property values, and modern infrastructure that'll serve for decades. And if you're thinking about making that move to the Chicago suburbs, Glen Ellyn is seriously worth considering. They're clearly investing in their future, and I'm also biased because I am from here and went to school here. And if you're thinking about making that move around the Chicagoland area, my team and I are here to help. We've assisted countless families in finding their homes in the Chicago suburbs, so I know these neighborhoods inside and out. Feel free to shoot me an email right here on the screen, or just check the description or the pinned comment for more details on where to find my email. And before you go, if you like this video, be sure to check this one out, the one linked right here. It's all about the realities of living here in the Chicago suburbs, and will give you an even better look at the real estate scene in the Chicago suburbs as a whole, showing how so many people are making smart moves and benefiting from great choices. So I will see you guys in the next video as well.